Last week. Oh, just got real. Last week, the Obama administration and Iran, in cooperation with Russia, France, Britain, Germany, and China, reached an historic outline of a framework, of an outline for a potential draft of a pre-final tentative nuclear deal arrangement pending approval. But first, Congress has some concerns.
This deal doesn't dismantle one centrifuge. It doesn't close one site.
No one trusts Iran.
I don't trust the leadership of Iran.
There should have been a clear recognition on their part that Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish state.
I wouldn't have started these negotiations to begin with.
What? So I guess we're ceding everything to a country of liars and anti-Semites in a negotiation that never should have existed. But other than that, good first draft. What course of action, if not a treaty, would Congress recommend?
Something more along the lines of what President Clinton did in December 1998. Several days of air and naval bombing against Iraq's weapons of mass destruction facilities.
Oh, right. 1998, Clinton sent some missiles in there in Operation I Guess That's That. Yeah, that 1998 bombing fixed Iraq forever, transitioning that country from a dictatorship to an America-loving, kitten and fudge-based democracy. Everyone loves a kitten and fudge-based democracy. But the truth is, even if the senators... Really? Honestly, just added a T. That's all we did. Even if the senators did think the deal with Iran was a good deal, the senators would still have to fulfill their constitutional obligation.
No Senate or House should ever let any president do away with congressional sanctions created by the bodies without their approval.
I think it's critical that the Senate approve this like we do any treaty.
It requires the advice and consent of the United States Senate.
Slow down there, McCain. Senate's already in session like 3 days a month. You don't want to overload your schedule, blow a gasket. Of course, the Constitution also gives Congress the responsibility to declare war. How concerned are they with defending that authority from presidential overreach?
Well, I don't want to limit our commander-in-chief.
This resolution says win a war. It takes ground troops, whatever it takes.
A guy named Ronald Reagan invaded a small sovereign nation called Grenada, and notified everybody the next morning after after it was completed.
Congress should sort of shut up.
President needs to focus, everybody. He's bombing people. My advice is that Congress consent to a hot cup of shut the Delaware, when the president's bombing people, you so much as say a word, I will shove you so far up Massachusetts' ass. You'll smell Maine. It's a lot of tough talk from... As a matter of fact, Congress is so lax in their war-making oversight, the president himself is somewhat uncomfortable with the amount of fire in his power, like his drone strike authority.
You know, one of the things that we've got to do is put a legal architecture in place, and we need congressional help to do that, to make sure that not only am I reined in, but any president's reined in terms of some of the decisions that we're making.
Stop me, Congress, before I oh, too late. Turns out, when it comes to bombing countries or sending advisors to countries or drone striking countries, Congress is a girl who just can't say no. But when it comes to cooperating with countries, treaties, hold on there! What are you doing, mister? Like the Small Arms Treaty to stop the illegal international trade of arms, ratified by 66 other countries.
Why in the world would somebody want to cede to the United Nations or to any multinational group the power to make determinations as to with whom we trade arms.
This treaty will infringe upon the Second Amendment rights of American gun owners.
Black market Somali arms trafficking doesn't kill people. People who buy black market Somali arms kill. Oh, forget it. Or the law of the sea treaty, which creates guidelines for how countries can responsibly use marine natural resources, ratified by 167 countries, or as it's known, Earth minus us.
What it does, in just a one-sentence form, is to relinquish our sovereignty over 70% of the world.
What are we, the Spanish Armada? As you know, America currently owns the oceans. Ever since President Nixon blew on Neptune's fabled conch shell and became Prince of the Deep. That was... Or, and this one is honestly hard to believe that we won't ratify, the Treaty to Promote Rights for the Disabled, ratified by 153 nations.
In all honesty, I don't want to lose our sovereignty in this issue.
Oh, I don't want some one world black helicopter Illuminati coming here and telling us which ramp needs to go in front of which library. And it's not always that we're always working against other countries. We do work with other countries. We do it all the time.
Well, certainly we need other partners. I mean, we need these other Arab countries to step in.
The United States must be committed to building a coalition that assists the Iraqi, Kurdish, and Free Syrian forces.
Demonstrate our commitment to the global coalition in defeating this radical Islamic organization.
American soldiers need to go back to Syria and Iraq as part of a coalition.
See? You want to work with the United States, huh? Well, there's only two things you can do with ramps. Build them or bomb them. And I don't see no building ramp materials. Which brings us to the question, why are we so cautious and unwilling to cooperate with the global community on non-military agreements?
Whenever a bill or a treaty is passed, there are some unintended consequences.
Well, let's do it without enmeshing our nation into another binding international organization that will cause more grief than benefit.
We also need to pay very careful attention to those consequences that are unintended, because that is where the danger truly lies.
Yes, the unintended consequences of trying to make peace. Our Congress is incredibly cautious about treaties because you never know the blowback peaceful cooperation can have. We see it all the time. Maybe if we hadn't been so eager to collect Halloween pennies for UNICEF, Iraq would be a stable country today. And ISIS would never get a foothold. But that's the kind of goodness baked into our Constitution. To make peace, 2/3 of the Senate need to come along. Oh, you want to go to war, though? Simple majority. And a quick tip, if you call it something else, you can do whatever the you want. We're the Edward Scissorhands of countries. We want to love, but we only know how to hurt.